Feelings are important signals, aren't they? They are signposts for what really matters. Even if they're difficult feelings, we can get through it. And people do get through it. And people do grow, and they do reach a point where they can think of their loved ones without it being shattering. It does soften. And it's important to say that as well. There is healing.
Hey, I'm Tanya Wilkinson, and this is Death on the Daily. What if the feelings that we try the hardest to avoid, like anger and shame, both very common and valid in grief, what if these are actually not villains to us, but instead are our friends? And since we lost our daughter, Ngako Rayona, I have at points felt so much anger. I've been consumed by the flames of an emotion so stigmatized in our society. But what if leaning into these emotions could actually show us what really matters and what we really need? And what if we could accept these emotions as a valid part of being human? My guest today brings a message of the sacredness of all of our feelings and the simple practices of presence that we can each do to support us through our grief. Dr Chloe Paidoussis Mitchell is a chartered counselling psychologist. She's also the author of The Lost Prescription, a clinician whose work explores how human beings heal through presence, compassion, and emotional truth. Because, as Chloe shares in this episode, when we try and make friends with the feelings that we've been taught in life to push away, we can discover the wisdom and insight that lives there. So, Chloe, welcome to Death on the Daily.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for having me. It's really actually giving me joy being here with you today, having this chance to kind of appreciate just being here, being able to chat, to connect, to share, maybe raise some awareness. It's actually pretty uplifting. So thank you.
Oh, Chloe, thank you so much. I think that's such a beautiful reminder for us all in the simplest of joys of our human connection, which I know is something that's very close to your heart.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we are going to be touching on this topic throughout our conversation.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But to start us off, I wanted to start with your personal story. And I know that for so many of us who are working in the space of supporting others through grief, through death, through all of the ways actually the losses show up for us in our life, I know that there is obviously the interconnections with our story. So I'd love to hear anything around your personal experiences and what they've opened in you and also in your work.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a really powerful question. And it's always strange for me when people ask me about my story, because as a psychologist, I was like, it really drilled into me that it's not about you. Don't make it about you. But actually, I don't think it can't be. I don't think it can. I can keep myself out of it. So I've written in my book, I've written quite a bit about my story with loss, which centers around two really challenging aspects. One is the loss of my health through a difficult autoinflammatory condition that limits me and restricts me, and it's got in the way of our recordings a few times, hasn't it? And learning to live with that, the loss of the privilege of my health, and the other loss that I talk about very openly is a very devastating miscarriage, which I had after my first son. But I have lost friends, I have lost loved ones through bereavement, and I ended up in this field because I saw what loss can do to really, really lovely, special people in my world, and how it can disintegrate all of us, all aspects of us. So a sense of anchoring, sense of the world being predictable, sense of identity and role. So I don't have a neat answer to that question, just that loss has been with me from about the age of 13. And I've always been curious and quite committed to understanding how loss can make us live more coherently, more present, and more richly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like sometimes in loss, in those moments where loss is really right in front of me, I think, what an amazing thing to be here, to exist, to appreciate the beautiful things in life. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Oh, that does so powerfully and so beautifully. And I
thank
think
you.
When you mentioned around there is no neat answer, I think that actually there
No.
shouldn't be any neat answer to this, should it? Because actually the human existence is so messy,
Oh my
and
goodness.
it
Yeah.
just all my experience just feels like it's
Yeah.
all over the shop. And to that point, if there's a big question around our losses, actually, I always think of it of my daughter's greatest lesson to me was just how perfectly imperfect we are as
Mm,
humans. I'm a recovering perfectionist who still has
mm,
definitely perfectionist tendencies and always wants everything to be in a neat box with a nice ribbon bow wrapped up in it. But actually, how can we talk about any of our many losses in life without
mm, mm.
feeling like that absolute Mr. What's that Mr. Man, like the Mr.
Oh, yeah,
Messy,
the
the one that
squiggly.
the squiggly man. Yes.
Yeah. But I think one of the challenging things, which actually I've learned, I've become a professional in it, and I navigate it repeatedly and always discovering another dimension to it, another aspect to it, is to not fear it. I know it sounds a bit like, what do you mean? Like a little bit like with pain. Like if you're in pain, your instinct is to go, "Ooh," like, go away. That's upsetting me, that's hurting me, I don't want to be near it. But actually, the older I get, the more I'm immersed in this world of working with bereaved and traumatized people, the more I realize actually we need to make friends with our loss and with our grief, all aspects of it. And we need to welcome it, even though it's painful. It's listen to it. It's a really sacred part of your existence that's coming to the surface because you're navigating the multidimensionality of it. So sometimes I find I'm actually all right. I'm coping all right. The material world's all kind of, yeah, it's fine. I can deal with what life's asking of me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not grieving inside, that there isn't
Mm.
a reconstruction and a renegotiation of what it is to live with the ongoing bonds with our loved ones.
Mhm.
And that sometimes needs a bit more of my attention. So it's like you're existing in more than one
Mm.
reality. I heard Mary Frances O'Connor recently describe it as you're walking in two worlds. And I totally know what she means. I think it's a really good way of explaining it.
Wow, you're walking in 2 worlds, and I think one
You're
of
in,
those worlds or
yeah,
between 2 worlds
yeah,
even.
in two
Yeah,
worlds. Your external
yeah,
world, where maybe you've got it sussed and you're doing quite well in
yeah.
it, but your internal world, that's another matter. And it's sacred, and that's the point I was trying to make. It's okay if it feels dark, if it feels fearful. You know, sometimes people will say, "Well, how can I trust? How can I feel safe? How can I dare to love again? How can I, lean into this good thing in my life? I'm afraid that I might lose it again." And that's totally understandable. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we don't really embrace our negative feelings or our grief or our fear with love. We don't really do that. We don't talk about it enough. So, yeah,
Wow.
it's a continual learning process, isn't it? Grief is a massive learning experience that never ends.
Yeah, it's huge, and I think that, again, with the external world having so many distractions and things, and we
Mm,
are
mm,
taught to, in our age of
mm,
distraction, we're not taught that.
mm.
I loved when you said about actually to become friends with our grief, and
Yeah.
it's not, I think that we think it's that we're gonna touch it and it's going to scold us, but actually it's something that when you start to have that conversation, that's in my experience, it's the resistance is actually worse than the gentle. It's painful going into our grief, but there's a gentle softening that I've found and I've experienced in my body when I'm willing to say, actually, I'm going to get myself out of my mind, which is trying to distract me and take me anywhere but here. And I'm going to be really willing to sit, and obviously presence is a big thing. So what would you say for someone who is grieving and is perhaps struggling with being present with all of those really big, really difficult feelings, the cocktail of everything that comes up through grief? What's that first step to be able to just gently touch our grief with our presence?
But what I think is incredibly important is to calm the body down.
Mm,
That's what I talk about as a first step in my book.
yeah,
When you're in that state of flooded with terror, despair, physical pain, physical for
yeah.
a lot of grief, it's really It's so visceral. Don't expect yourself to be able to make sense or to be able to process the tsunami of emotion that's coming up.
Mm.
You have to go back to basics and try and calm your body in the best way you can.
Yeah.
And actually what really is important is the presence of another.
Mm.
So being with another human being, for some people it's their pet, but if it's another human being, it's just somebody that can just sit with you in silence, without saying anything, without fixing anything, without managing the narrative of what's happened and how you should be in it, but just to hold the space with you, just to sit with you. Actually, there's a neurochemical reaction to that. So when we're with people that can offer us that, our heart rate slows down, our blood pressure comes down, our cortisol levels are dropped, but our digestive system wakes up. You know, an awful lot happens when we're in the presence of somebody that actually offers us that level of presence and safety. So if it, I know that's not possible often, but if you can lean in and ask for that kind of support from one person, it's a huge anchor. And to see your response, whatever it is, as a response that's valid, that is a normal response within a world that doesn't make sense, and that's okay. It's all right. You're human and you're multi-layered, and you don't really know how to be or what to be, but that's okay. It's not nice, but it's okay. So I could talk about this for about 4 hours, actually. So I'm trying to sort of condense little nuggets of wisdom for your listeners. Hopefully it makes sense.
It's really, really powerful. And I would say as well, if anyone wants it's more than 4 hours version, I listened to the audiobook of your book, The Lost Fiction, and it's like, for me, it's just such a brilliant, it's a real guidebook to loss and to grief, but also from that perspective of actually, how do you soothe yourself? How do you bring safety as well? It literally is that prescription of, here you go, these are practices you can do. And I think it's so important, but also I think what's really lovely is how you brought it into that co-regulation with another human or pet. Although one of my dogs, Manu, I remember this after I had my early miscarriage, was in 2021, and we just recently got her as a dog. We thought dogs would be like therapy dogs. Everyone just says, oh yeah, intuitively know. And for me, when I was upset and grieving, she was over the other side of the
Running
house.
away.
Yeah, she was away. Always call her the worst therapy dog ever. So for some people, it might be their dogs. But I think it's really important that we are humans who are interconnected beings.
My goodness.
And that power. And it's so simple as well. I think I loved when you said as well for anyone, I think that was really wise advice as well for anyone who's listening, who's maybe thinking, how can I step in and support grievers? Of step in and sit, but you don't actually
say anything.
Don't say anything. Just be. Just be uncomfortable. But
yeah, sometimes contact might be a bit too much for the person who's in the depths of a very acute grief. But I always think, well, maybe a little thing, maybe just saying, I'm just going to sit with you. I'm just going to sit next to you. Is this all right? And you might say, I'm going to put my hand on your shoulder. Is that all right? Or I'm going to hold your little finger. Is that all right? Like, honestly, like little things like that can be incredibly lifelong holding moments.
Yes.
And we're not very good at doing that.
Yes.
We're not very good at doing that. People rush around with lasagna and things like that, and that's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I think we need a bit more education on kind of what does it mean to be really just unconditionally present. And if you haven't got anyone, because I know there's an awful lot of people who, for whatever reason, feel they haven't got that person in their life, or they've lost that person in their life, and that is horrific. And that is the right word, I think. It's so frightening and it's so difficult. Then I think it's very important to try and anchor yourself in just slowing your breath down and maybe doing this, putting both hands on your chest and pressing in, maybe holding yourself like that. I mean, I literally think, hold yourself, because this is really incredibly hard. So you need to show up for yourself best you can. Sometimes doing that. I don't know if your audience can see us. I think they can. On YouTube. So, little things that will just send that message to our subconscious, which is running the show, that we're supported.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think that self-touch, that hands on your heart, you're giving yourself a hug, the butterfly taps.
Yeah,
It's so simple. They're wonderful. I literally found it a couple of weeks ago. There's a wonderful research study by University of California, but I always say it wrong. It's not Berkeley, but Berkeley. And it was saying, I think it was about that self-hug and how 20 seconds, I think they researched people where they just did 20 seconds a day, and when they consistently did it, it had a significant physiological effect. And I think we really underestimate that power, and actually, how we have the resources to ground us. And I love as well that acknowledgement that, for unfortunately, many people, actually, there aren't people in their life where there is that safety to be able to say, hey, can you sit with me for this?
Yeah, 20-second hugs, like, it's amazing. You notice a difference in your body after a 20-second hug, with either alone or with another, because oxytocin is released, that bonding hormone, and there is lots of evidence to show that works. But sometimes what I will do is I'll if it's not too cold, take my shoes off, and if I can, go and lie in the garden.
Oh,
Like, literally,
I love that.
Connect to the earth and tune into the energy of that. I work a lot in energies. My training was in existential psychology, so it was all very cerebral. And actually, over the last 24 years, I've become incredibly spiritual and open to the multidimensional experience of being human. So I feel quite comfortable with that. Or walking, because I grew up in Athens, and going to the beach wasn't exactly a big deal. It's just what we all did, just taking your shoes off and going along on a sandy beach. Somehow nature's really holding. If people can't be there for you, then Mother Earth can.
Oh, yes, I love that. Hello, beautiful friend. If you're watching this, then I'm guessing that it might be because you're grieving. And you might be like many of the grievers who I support through my grief coaching, as well as people who I speak to on the daily who say to me, T, I don't have time to grieve. I can't find the space in any month to be able to be with my grief. And that's why I've created Grief Cocoon, a brand new monthly live event that happens online so you can tune in from your own grief cocoon at home. And cocooning is really important in our grief. When we are present with our grief, when we allow space for us to tend to our grief through ritual, through nervous system support and care, through reflection like journaling, all of which we're going to be doing in the grief cocoon. It enables us, like that little caterpillar, to go into our cocoon and to support our transformation and our emergence on the other side as that butterfly who's integrated grief as a part of our story. If you want to join us for the next Grief Cocoon event, then head to the show notes and all of the details are there. For me, actually, nature has always been there for me. And I've been really conscious in my grief journey of actually thankfully, I've always felt like my husband's there for me. And so I've not felt that absence, but actually there has been many times where, because my grief has roared at different times and a lot more frequently for me than maybe for him, and obviously then with friends where sort of the conversation just eventually is from conversation, actually going out for me is Epping Forest near where I live, it's always that reminder of I'll often go and lean against a tree, just with that reminder of the fact that actually, even if there isn't a human who can hold me today, Mother Earth is always holding me. And I think that can be so powerful. And again, I think if we stick in our rational mind goes, yeah, but that's not, but actually it's remembering that our body, and to your point again, the energy centers and that spiritual and everything. That's different plainness that our body can't rationalize it. Our mind even can't rationalize its way through. So I love nature connection in grief.
Yeah. And when I do a lot of trauma work is starting with, yes, regulating the nervous system to try and calm down, try and bring online the rest of the executive function so that you can start to feel like you have a grip on reality. And one of the things we'll do when they've calmed down a little bit is come up with a symbolic safe space. Not a happy place, a safe place. And it has to be a mental image, because the brain operates in imagery and metaphor. It doesn't operate literally for a lot of people. So if I say, think of your front door, you don't see the letters front door, you see a picture of your front door. So the always when I ask the people I support to come up with a symbolic safe space that can anchor them, 99% of the times it's a place in nature.
Yes.
It's always somewhere in nature. It's either by a lake or on a mountain or on a beach or in a field or in a garden. It's always nature.
Yeah.
It's not a mall or a nightclub or the office, or even the home. It's somewhere in nature. So I think somewhere in us, we're wired to feel something holding when we think about nature. So I think it's a big tool that we can tune into.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And it's a tool that I know that there is not everybody has the same accessibility to nature. Like I know that there's a lot of inner city kids who, for example, wouldn't have the forest like I do just on my doorstep, but actually there is always nature somewhere nearby and it's not too far. I used to, when I lived in central London and South London, I used to be obsessed with plants growing through cracks in the pavement.
I love that.
At any
That's
point,
so brilliant.
even in like the spaces where you're like you have the odd street tree or whatever it is, but there's always something. And for me as well, that always just reminds me and roots me back into resilience. But if I can be present with that, then, and once in Brixton, my business used to be called Green in the Grey, inspired by plants going through the cracks in the pavement, but that was inspired by a chamomile plant I found growing through a crack in the pavement slab in this grey. It was just a grey courtyard in our massive office block, and not office block, home apartment block, and that little chamomile plant, I just watched it. It was one summer, and I was like, "What is that? That's like looks like a chamomile. It must have been from a tea bag because I can't think how on earth it got there." I just watched it, and that then shows that there can be these little pockets of nature where we least expect it.
Yeah. I think it's just about welcoming it in. Like you've got flowers, and we were talking about how lovely flowers are. I always have flowers in my always, always, always. It's one of the healing things I will do when I'm feeling really down or really tired. I'll go and get a nice bunch of flowers or a nice little plant and just enjoy looking at it. I'm not going to take your grief away. I'm not going to make the world a brilliant place to be in, but it's like our soul needs a little bit of beauty.
Oh,
And we can have that, and get a nice few plants and put them in your sitting room and nurture them. And it sounds a bit like really, but actually they change the energy. They change your soul's experience somehow.
oh, I love that. I love that. That's that invitation for how we can curate our life, isn't it? It's, and I think especially when everything feels so out of control in grief. No, I can just bring a little bit of brightness, and I can get some tulips like I've got here to sit in the background. That's so lovely, because that can just, even I always think if I just shift my mood by 0.5%, that's 0.5% in a direction where maybe I was spinning out before, or whatever it is, where I'm just a little bit more grounded or whatever it is. So
Yeah, and sometimes it's just about what's the what next best thing I can do today to try and give me something of what I need. One little next thing. What is it? And people will be very creative with that. Some of it, I think, is just about learning to tune into your heartfelt guidance. Maybe you need a grief day. Take it. You don't have to be beautiful or engaged with the world. Maybe you need to be ragey. Be it, it's all okay. I think the most important thing is about tuning into what our heart is whispering. And some days it'll be more available, and some days it'll be, I'm really broken today. I need your help.
yeah, I love that. I love that, because what I can hear so powerfully is the invitation that you share. Again, it's of that presence with ourselves. Tune within, listen within, and that's totally okay. You can meet yourself exactly where you are.
Mm, mm.
And that is so honoring of
Yeah.
us in a world where it's very much what pill can I take to make myself feel better? Or, the
Mm,
kind of
mm,
that, how
mm.
can I quickly get to,
Yeah,
or
how
how
can
can
I
I say
stop
some
feeling
positive
it?
affirmations? Yeah, to stop feeling how I really feel.
Yeah, feelings are important signals, aren't they? They are signposts for what really matters, quality of your bonds, the quality of your relationship with you and your life and what you want to create now. And we need to be friendly with our feelings, even if they're difficult feelings. If we can do them in a state of appreciation and self-care, but authentic self-care, I think we're okay. We can get through it. And people do get through it. And people do grow, and they do reach a point where they can think of their loved ones without it being shattering or so painful that they can't bear it, It does soften. And it's important to say that as well, that there is healing.
Wow, beautiful. I love that, making friends with our feelings. And what would you say to someone? Because obviously within grief, there's the whole rainbow of feelings that can come through, but typical ones that can be very, very difficult. And obviously your book equally is, again, just such a brilliant guidebook for navigating these difficult feelings. But for example, when I think about the ones that I most commonly speak to people about and hold space for people through, it'll be anger, it'll be shame. It's things that are so stigmatized in our society. So what advice would you give to someone who's really battling some quite difficult emotion?
Give yourself permission.
Oh,
Give yourself permission. You're angry. You've probably got really good reasons for being angry. And the part of you that's angry needs to have a voice. Do it safely, not destructively, but validate it. Give it a voice that matters, that you show up for, you listen to it. Why shouldn't you be angry? Bad things happen to really good people, and being angry is a normal response. It's understandable. So I think some of it is about permission. I don't think it's okay to go out and harm others or to harm yourself, even though I can have compassion for that too, obviously. Something about meeting your feelings with respect and with the sacredness that your feelings are. They're not random feelings. You don't exist in a vacuum. You exist in a profound, meaningful world where actually you have to discover and express who you are.
wow.
So it's okay. What you're feeling is okay. It's not bad of you to feel negative emotions, but listen to them with respect and appreciation for the human being that you are, what you're trying to evolve here, what you're trying to tolerate and adapt to. So that I write a lot about that, and I think, oh gosh, I want to write more about it. Like, what does it mean to be in that state of appreciation? Some people think, oh, that's really self-centered. I don't think it is.
No, no, no,
Not at
no.
all. I think it's coherent.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking a
wow.
lot on time.
No, it's beautiful. I'm enthralled. I'm literally here, and these different parts of
Oh,
me are like
oh,
literally
thank
sitting
you,
there being like,
Tammy.
no,
You're a
no,
lovely
listen,
person to
listen.
chat to. You're very
I love it.
appreciative.
I am so appreciative of this conversation.
That's so
I'm just sitting here like,
rewarding. Thank
wow.
you.
But I think that what is really lovely is that invitation to move through these feelings. And when you spoke about that, of not doing it in a way that causes other people or yourself harm, what would you say are, I suppose, some healthy ways that you could perhaps, let's root into anger, because I feel like anger is a really, it's so stigmatized in our culture. Like, how could we, if I'm, for example, if I'm feeling the rage today in my grief, what are some things that I could perhaps do to just give myself that validation and that opportunity to move into it in a healthy way?
Yeah. First of all, welcome it.
Mm-hmm.
Just catch yourself if you're judging it.
Mm.
You're annoyed by it. If you're quietly thinking, I'm so sick of this,
Yeah.
or I'm stuck with this, or I'm so unlucky, this is what my life is. So, catch what you're quietly telling yourself about your anger, first of all, and stop it.
Yes.
Like, pay attention and say, okay, you're here. Give it to me. What's going on?
Yeah.
So meet yourself. Second, voice it. I have to write things down, and I will actually journal every single day, pretty much every day. And I never know what I'm going to journal about, and I never know what I'm actually feeling until I've actually given myself that pen and I've started writing. That to me is my way of really voicing my inner world, because I'm quite busy in my material world, getting on with it. And I need that tool to sort of stop and tune in. So write it, speak it, dance it out, sing it out, draw it out. I don't know, whatever works for people, but give it expression. And then really, really listen to what's it actually about. What is it telling you?
Wow. Yeah.
And is it coming from a really wounded part of you? What does that part need? Does she or he or they need acknowledging and holding? Create that moment. So there's layers to it, right? Layers. And some of it is about knowing how to have the clarity of the presence of mind to navigate it. But I think it's a skill that people can learn. I really do.
Oh, I love that, because I think learning how to have those conversations with ourselves, and I've definitely found writing is such a practice. And as well, I think that's where, when we're writing about what we're angry about, again, it can help us to get through that shame, because sometimes it's things that we wouldn't necessarily want to say to someone else. I don't know, I don't want to voice this to my husband, say this to my best friend. And actually, I think that equally what we do with the piece of paper can be really lovely from the perspective of, I've done it before, I've ripped it up, or I've safely, with that caveat, in a heat-proof bowl and gone out into the garden and...
Oh yeah, those rituals are powerful.
Yeah, really powerful. So I really, really love that. And I think for me as well, the other thing with anger that I love doing is just stomping around in and just letting myself just be. I think it's the types of things that probably I was stopped from doing as a kid, that like, I'm just going to stomp about and I'm going to slam a door. Again, things that's not going to harm my husband, all safe in this scenario. But I can just physically, or as well, I think when I've worked with some of my coaching clients, I've got one in particular I'm thinking of, dancing. Just in, I think for her, it's about music of like the rock music from, and I'm thinking about when I grew up, it was all about Foo Fighters, and there's bands I probably put on a tune from the Foo Fighters from way back then that I probably was jumping about as a kid too, and I let myself just get through that movement, let it move through me.
And maybe sometimes you do need to take yourself to a quiet spot and scream.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
Say what needs to be said.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I often think, I wish I had the confidence to go out into the forest and scream. I'm probably British. Bit too uptight, but I would love to. Or the cliff, on the edge of a cliff on a windy day.
It's very liberating. It can feel quite exhausting. You might feel a bit silly at first, but once you start tuning into that part of you, I always think about where it's sourced. Where is that pain coming from? That always beneath anger lies vulnerability and trauma and sadness. Always there's something beneath there. And sometimes I think it's safer to feel angry than it is to feel guilty or to feel sad. So some people will get quite addicted to feeling angry because that protects them from processing what lies within. But it's very liberating to make friends with it and to kind of, mobilize it.
Oh, I love it. That's a real theme I'm taking away from our conversation today, is just making friends with our feelings. They're those ones that can be quite difficult to hold initially.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that anger can be that flame, that light that
to your point, actually can spotlight where we are feeling really vulnerable.
Mm,
There's a lot of deep hurt that we're maybe not acknowledging, that little protection cage around ourselves. I wanted to ask you one more question before we close out on our conversation. If there's someone who is perhaps grieving, and because also I think when it comes to presence, what's coming through for me is we have very busy lives, and oftentimes our lives and also a lot of our social media addiction and all of that stuff can take us away from being present. And I think that's probably perhaps one of the things that someone who, whether that is because they're a busy mum, busy work life, etc., might be sat here thinking, okay, I want to be present with it. I want to make space for my grief. I actually don't know how I do that when a busy job or I've also got caregiving responsibilities. I feel like I'm just go through around the clock. What else would you give to someone who perhaps just doesn't feel like they've got space for grief?
yeah, I think the quickest route into that is to do what the heart intelligence people have taught me to do, which is slow your breathing down. So intentionally tell yourself you're going to breathe a little bit slower and a little bit deeper than you would normally. It's not going to be a 20-minute meditation. For somebody who's in a state of survival and just keeping the show on the go is not going to do that. So intentionally take a moment somewhere safe and maybe private where you're not going to be interrupted. Slow your breathing down. I'm going to breathe a little bit slower and a little bit deeper than I would normally. And I'm going to focus sending my breath to my heart, through my heart and out. And I'm going to create that flow of energy and consciousness between me and my heart, because everything's happening here really. And as you do that for 30 seconds, ask your heart to activate a feeling of appreciation.
Wow.
For whatever, someone you care, you, something in your life, whatever. I guarantee you that your grief will come out.
Wow. That's so beautiful. And again, it's so simple. And as you shared, 30 seconds, not saying access your grief for 30 seconds and then be like, see your grief.
Yeah. No, but that's the way. It's like you're going into your grief. You're going into the house of grief, and you will notice it. You will feel it. You might think, oh, I don't fancy that, but that is the easiest way.
So wise and so true. And so I think it's so essential. Chloe, one final thing is just, I would love for you to share where anyone who's tuning into this podcast can just connect with you, find out about you, and also share anything about your book and anything else that you wish to.
Oh, thank you. Well, on my socials, which is just my name on Instagram or TikTok, but my website, I put quite a lot of resources on my website. And it's dr-chloe.com. It's quite easy. So I'd welcome anyone getting in touch. I can signpost you in the right direction. I can recommend other practitioners if you don't want to work with me, and or they can check out the Grief Clinic.
I definitely would wholeheartedly recommend as well your book, particularly I think for any stage of grief, but I really wish I'd have had your book in my hands in the weeds stage of grief. What is going on? This is a experience, but it was my body's experience. Incredibly grounding.
Well, thank you, Tanya. I'm glad that we've connected. It's my book that's brought us together, isn't it? So I'm really, that's lovely. That's really cool.
Well, thank you so much, Chloe, for joining me today for this conversation. I'm definitely leaving feeling like I've just dropped into my body, feeling that light. I know it's quite a sunny day here, spring day, so I might on the earth as well and be healthy.
Yeah, and enjoy.
And so thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Death on the Daily. If you liked this episode, it would mean a lot if you could hit subscribe. Plus, head to the show notes to find out about my work as a grief coach, and there's a grief journaling freebie there for you. Until we meet here next time, take good care of yourself and others.
There's a cold fire, there's a crossfire, and there's something